So let's do an update on the US bubble because we are seeing big cracks forming. Now, with the new Fed chair coming in, there's a real risk of rates staying high in the US for much longer. Now, while that might be good to bring inflation down, it is horrible for big US tech companies. They want to build fields of data centers like what you would see in a matrix. But in order to do that, capital has to be cheap. The US strategy in AI is to rapidly build capacity with the hope and the dream that demand catches up. It is the exact opposite of China's gradual ramp up or focusing on applications first. Now, rates staying high makes it extremely risky for tech companies to commit to ramp up their investments. Nvidia was supposed to pile in a ton of money, but now Jensen is making an epic backtrack. Suddenly, it's going to evaporate. What is really going on here right now?
We never said we were going to invest $100 billion in one round. They invited us to invest up to $100 billion.
The plan was to invest up to $100 billion in OpenAI to build 10 gigawatts worth of data centers and other AI infrastructure. But now this fantasy is going up in flames. Nvidia is not deploying their money into OpenAI. That's a very ominous sign. Jensen knows the commitment is huge, and it could be a black hole that will take down the company if the gamble doesn't pay off. OpenAI might want 100 billion, but Jensen just confirmed he isn't going to throw down that amount of money. It's quite crazy if you really think about it. There's a whole host of reasons why Nvidia probably doesn't want to invest. Firstly, the US doesn't have enough power build out to supply the data centers with enough electricity. Trying to reroute power is going to cost a fortune here. Nvidia's main business is to develop high-tech chips. They are investing in AI companies to drive demand for said chips. Guys, this is simply vendor financing in a roundabout circular way. It's just like China buying US bonds to fund Washington to buy Chinese goods. Nvidia will be competing with other hyperscalers to fund all these build-outs. Capital is very precious here. Over $3 billion will be invested in the US and global data center infrastructure. How do you think the money will come about? It will be funded by an insane amount of debt. In 2026, AI firms will be borrowing a ton of money. This could hit $150 billion. This amount of loans is insane and will start crowding out debt markets and push the cost of loans even higher. Now, the Fed staying hawkish is also a problem. If the US Treasury rates don't come down, borrowing will stay even more elevated for the real economy. Doubly so for all these data center buildouts. It's a real risk here. Does Nvidia really want to jump into this shark-infested pool without any guarantee of a payoff? The US government is not giving OpenAI any guarantee as well, at least to my knowledge, so a federal bailout is uncertain if a collapse happens. The entire AI bubble is getting ridiculous. Even the big hyperscalers, US big tech, they are all up to their eyeballs in financial obligations. These companies have committed to lease data centers for their compute needs. They are hoping and praying AI demand eventually catches up. They are deep in a hole. Future lease commitments have exploded from 70 billion in 2022 to nearly 600 billion last year. It's these leases that allow data center builders to take big loans from the banks or to issue bonds. It's this income from big tech companies that is keeping the bubble afloat. This is just one of the many time bombs in this AI madness. Just one. There are now two major problems. If AI revenue doesn't come, the rent must still be paid. So big tech companies could be deep in the red, at least for their AI departments. Will they continue throwing money into the black hole? Of course they won't. There will be a physical limit. If things get bad enough, they might just default on these lease commitments. Should that happen, now the data center builders are caught without revenue. Now they can't pay back the bank or they start defaulting on their loans. Bondholders get screwed, borrowing gets even tougher. You know what I mean. Maybe that's why Oracle is panicking. On a Sunday, they suddenly announced they are looking to raise $50 billion in 2026 for their data centers. One of the biggest tech companies in the world doesn't have enough cash on hand. Imagine that. Oracle is going to raise half the money by issuing bonds, but get this part, the other half will be done through equity sales. The company is going to sell more shares to raise the money to build the data centers. It is an admission that Oracle can't borrow money without extreme risk. Bond investors, they're already watching Oracle like hawks. Credit default swaps or insurance against Oracle defaulting, they have flown to the moon. It's crazy levels there. Investors are literally afraid of throwing more money into the black hole. This is only going to push yields higher for Oracle's bonds. They will have to pay more. And because of the data center build out, Oracle's cash flow will go negative for at least 3 to 4 years. Until 2030, Oracle will likely be relying on even more debt and borrowing to stay afloat. They are selling equity because they know raising debt is risky. It will just undermine confidence. But ironically, this will make their next round of borrowing even more expensive. If revenue drops or the bill gets bigger, Oracle will have to borrow even more. Investors will factor that into the equation and demand a higher return. This crisis is only going to get worse. In 2026, this year, a tsunami of debt will be maturing in the US. It's government debt that needs to be rolled over without question. One third of all outstanding debt will have to be reborrowed. This amounts to $9.6 trillion outstanding. The Treasury definitely doesn't have the money to pay back bondholders outright. Getting the Fed to print nearly 10 trillion will only collapse the dollar even further. Besson will have to find new bondholders for the debt, and more Treasury auctions will be coming to find buyers. Just in the second week of February alone, Besson will be holding $125 billion worth of debt auctions. Most of this refinancing will be done on the short end of the curve, in other words, short term Treasury bonds, which are very risky. Notwithstanding how it directly increases the money supply, it leaves the US open to interest rate shocks, especially when now the Fed isn't going to slam rates down in a hurry. The issue today is buyers of treasuries getting less and less dedicated. We now have a very fickle bunch, a new breed of buyers who could dump US bonds in a heartbeat. Now, since the Fed started hiking rates in 2022, the profile of treasury buyers have dramatically changed. Official buyers of central banks are actually net sellers of US government debt over time. Private buyers are the ones preventing the sky from collapsing. Yes, this includes pension funds and insurance companies. They won't just sell their holdings tomorrow, that much is true, but there are a ton of private investors, hedge funds, speculators, and corporate buyers. They are chasing a return, and if the dollar collapses or yields spike for whatever reason, they could dump their own holdings. That could cause yields to spike up even further. And that's why the refinancing crisis is very real. The odds of yields staying high or even rising is quite significant. It's disastrous for Trump's economy. He needs yields to come down, and if they don't, the national debt is going to explode out of control. When we strip down government spending, we can see interest payments taking the lion's share. Besides Medicare and Medicaid put together, interest on the national debt is the biggest obligation in government spending. It's 14% and it's growing. And that's why the deficit is also increasing. To fund the US government, income from taxes or tariffs are certainly not enough. 27% comes from borrowing. Very soon, this number will reach 30% or even 40%. It's another sign why rates eventually have to come down here. If not, the entire debt market will implode. We have big tech borrowing money to build data centers. We also have Scott Bessent scrambling to fund the deficit. There's a limit to how long rates can stay high. For the next 3 to 6 months, most definitely, Kevin Walsh will probably try to prove a point, but to achieve geopolitical goals, rates have to come down. And the big one is the supply chain war Trump is waging with China. He finally understands the importance of building your own industrial ecosystem, but the US is decades behind. Not 5, not 10 years, more like 20 to 30 years behind. And how do you play catch up when you have literally nothing? You have to throw a ton of money at the problem. That's exactly what Trump is doing. He's going to launch a desperate $12 billion critical mineral stockpile. He calls it Project Vault. It will marry nearly 2 billion in private capital with a $10 billion loan from the US Export-Import Bank. It's all about procuring and storing minerals for manufacturers. We have long said this move is coming. The US is trying to stockpile critical metals like gallium and cobalt that they need for industrial production. Everything from EV batteries to jet engines and semiconductors will need rare earths and essential metals. Here's the risky part of the plan. It's a $10 billion loan and the borrowing rate is at least higher than the Treasury rate of 4%. And where will the money be spent? Will the stockpile be buying critical minerals from domestic producers? Because that would most definitely be subsidizing these companies. They'll be buying at higher prices. Or are they buying and stockpiling from China? Then isn't Beijing going to benefit immediately from Project Vault? It sounds good on paper, but certain details just don't make sense. The repurchase agreement portion is bizarre. The manufacturers are committed to repurchase the same amount of material at that same cost in the future. Trump is trying to impose a price freeze on the critical metals. Trump is acting like a big warehouser of metals and a balance sheet backstop. But all this is artificial. If prices get suppressed, domestic miners won't invest in future supply. You could have scarcity going on. If gallium can be bought in Asia for $10, but the US only offers $5, which region are producers going to sell to? Exporters will export to Asia because they can get a better price. It's not rocket science, it's just supply and demand. Plus $12 billion is not nearly enough in the grand scheme of things. There could still be shortages for US industries. This stockpile plan is questionable at best. But of course, Trump is hyping this up like the best thing since sliced bread.
Today we're launching what will be known as Project Vault. It's an amazing thing. They've been talking about it for years. Other presidents did a lot of talking, but they didn't do anything. Over the past year, my administration has taken extraordinary steps to make sure the United States has all of the critical minerals and rare earths that we need. We're investing in mining projects,
Even if Trump throws $100 billion to Project Vault, does it really solve the China issue? China's real advantage doesn't just lie in their network of global mines. Yes, those are indeed important, but the Chinese advantage lies in their processing and refining of the rare earths. The scale of this is simply breathtaking. Furthermore, China has much higher environmental tolerance versus the West. The numbers don't lie. For critical minerals, especially for rare earth magnets, China dominates global refining. In 2024, it was well over 90% of the market. By 2030, China will still dominate three quarters of global refining. If you need refined rare earths for industry, you'll still be buying them from a Chinese supplier. That's the big irony of the stockpile. I'm not saying this is a horrible idea, it's actually better than nothing, but it's not going to solve the biggest bottleneck in the rare earth war. Trump still needs to find a way to build rare earth refineries combined with the best expertise. And as far as we know, the Chinese, they aren't going to give that up easily. There is an embargo of talent and engineers, especially in rare earth mining and refining. This stockpile just makes things more complicated and adds more pressure to the deficit crisis. And sooner or later, rates will have to come down. Trump is just doing too many things at once. He just can't afford for bond yields to head up. But as always, let me know what you think. Can the US tech bubble endure higher borrowing rates? Does the US stockpile even make sense today? Let me know in the comments below. Stay safe. Be sure to smash the like button and subscribe as we navigate through these crazy times.